America may have just unveiled the most advanced fighter jet in history. In February 2026, Pratt Whitney released footage showing what analysts believe is the Boeing F-47, a sixth-generation physics killer built for extreme stealth, AI-assisted combat, and deep strikes in heavily defended airspace. Experts warn this aircraft could redefine air superiority and shift the strategic balance of modern warfare. So what exactly appeared in those few seconds of footage, and why do analysts say it could change the future of combat aviation? Join us as we break down the capabilities of the aircraft that could redefine the future of combat aviation. For the last 2 decades, the People's Liberation Army Air Force has been investing at an extraordinary pace in what military planners call anti-access and area denial capabilities. These are layered networks of radars, surface-to-air missiles, electronic warfare systems, and fighter aircraft specifically designed to detect and destroy American combat aircraft before they can reach their targets. The most advanced of these systems, including the S-400 and its Chinese-designed equivalents, can engage targets at ranges of up to 250 miles, with radar detection ranges considerably beyond that. The F-22 Raptor, which entered service in 2005 and remains the Air Force's premier air superiority fighter, has a combat radius of roughly 590 nautical miles. In any conflict scenario involving Taiwan or the South China Sea, where American bases in the region are hundreds of miles from the areas of greatest strategic importance, the F-22's range becomes as serious a limitation as anything about its sensors or weapons. It can reach the fight, but cannot reach deep into the fight and stay there. The F-47 is built to solve that problem directly. China has not been standing still while the United States has been developing the F-47 in classified facilities. In December of 2024, images and footage appeared online showing 2 large previously unseen aircraft conducting test flights over the city of Chengdu in Sichuan province. Aviation analysts identified them as what they now designate the J-36 and the J-50, and the reaction from Western defense establishments was immediate. China, which had already deployed the J-20 stealth fighter, appeared to be testing not 1, but 2 sixth-generation platforms simultaneously. Senior Chinese officials and state media amplified the reveal aggressively, with some military commentators claiming that China had surpassed the United States in 6th-generation fighter development by several years, and that the J-36 was already deep into flight testing and approaching production readiness. General Alvin, when pressed on the Chinese claims, pointed out that the United States had been secretly flying full-scale demonstrators since 2020, meaning American 6th-generation flight test experience was years ahead of anything China was publicly displaying. A Chinese prototype conducting its first flights is not the same thing as an operational aircraft ready for combat. That gap between demonstrating technology and fielding it at scale is exactly where American defense programs have historically maintained their decisive edge. What the Air Force confirmed when President Donald Trump announced the contract award to Boeing in the Oval Office on March 21, 2025, is that the F-47 will have a combat radius of more than 1,000 nautical miles. That figure deserves a moment's reflection. 1,000 nautical miles is roughly 1,150 miles. An aircraft operating from Guam with a combat radius of 1,000 nautical miles can reach into the Chinese mainland without aerial refueling. It can operate at the heart of the most contested airspace in the Pacific and still have the range to return. Trump stood alongside Defense Secretary Pete Hegseth and Air Force Chief of Staff General David Alvin and said that the F-47 was the most lethal aircraft ever built, that America's enemies would never see it coming, and that nothing in the world came even close to it. General Alvin, choosing his words more carefully but with equal emphasis, described it as the world's first crewed 6th-generation fighter, built to dominate the most capable peer adversary and operate in the most perilous threat environments imaginable. The aircraft's stealth performance is where the physics killer label comes from, and it is not an exaggeration to call what the F-47 represents a challenge to what conventional engineering intuition says is possible. Fighter jets have always required compromises between stealth and performance. Vertical stabilizers, for example, are among the most radar-reflective features of any aircraft when illuminated from the side. The F-22 and F-35 have them, though canted at an angle to reduce their radar return. They are there because removing them entirely and relying instead on canard foreplanes and thrust vectoring for flight control is an extremely demanding engineering problem. The computing power required to keep a tailless aircraft stable and controllable across its full flight envelope is enormous, and the margins for error are minimal. The aircraft depicted in the Pratt and Whitney video has none of this traditional architecture at all. It is completely tailless. Its radar cross-section, if the design is as clean as the rendering suggests, could theoretically approach the extreme low observability levels of the B-2 Spirit stealth bomber, which has long been considered the benchmark for radar signature reduction and which achieves that signature through exactly this kind of horizontal, uninterrupted exterior. One of the most striking things that analysts noted in the February 17 video was what the design implies about the degree to which the F-47 has moved beyond traditional aerodynamic constraints. In conventional fighter design, you manage the trade-off between stealth and agility by accepting that certain features necessary for agility will compromise stealth. Vertical fins, external weapons pylons, and engine intake designs that maximize airflow at high angles of attack all tend to increase radar visibility. The F-47, based on what the Pratt and Whitney rendering shows, appears to have resolved the trade-off through computational flight control rather than aerodynamic structure. The aircraft does not have the physical features that typically enable agility. It has software and thrust vectoring sophisticated enough to replace those features entirely. The physics of the problem are the same as they have always been. The means of solving physics are not. The engine is central to every part of this. The XA103 that Pratt & Whitney unveiled in February is a 3-stream adaptive cycle engine, and what that means in practice is that it can reconfigure its own airflow in flight depending on what the mission requires at any given moment. Traditional jet engines make a permanent trade-off at the design stage between thrust and fuel efficiency. High-thrust engines burn fuel quickly. Fuel-efficient engines sacrifice raw power. The XA103 does not make that trade-off. It has 3 streams of airflow rather than 2, and a series of variable components that shift airflow between those streams depending on the flight regime. During the transit to the combat zone, the engine optimizes for fuel efficiency, extending the aircraft's range and reducing its thermal signature, because an engine running cool is harder for infrared sensors to detect. When combat begins and maximum performance is needed, the engine shifts to a high-thrust configuration that delivers speeds above Mach 2. Pratt & Whitney's own figures describe 25% better fuel efficiency and 20% more thrust compared with conventional fixed-cycle engines. And the company expects to cut engine development timelines by up to 50% through its fully digital design environment, in which some 200 suppliers are being trained in model-based definition for manufacturing and inspection. That digital design environment is itself a significant story. The XA103 is the first engine Pratt & Whitney has designed entirely within a digital, collaborative framework, linking its design, testing, manufacturing, and supply chain partners through a shared data architecture. Hundreds of digital sensors are embedded in the prototype's digital model, allowing engineers to verify performance in real time and make design decisions without waiting for physical test results. Alex Johnson, who leads the next-generation adaptive propulsion program at Pratt & Whitney, put it plainly when he said that the United States was not interested in parity in any fight around the world, and that staying at least several years and preferably decades ahead of any potential adversary was the only acceptable standard. Pratt & Whitney's contract for the XA103 has a ceiling of $3.5 billion, the same ceiling that General Electric holds for its competing XA102 design. Both engines have cleared critical design reviews. Both are now in the prototype hardware procurement phase, ahead of ground testing expected in the late 2020s. The onboard power generation capacity that the XA103 delivers is as significant as its propulsion performance, because it opens the door to weapons and systems that previous generations of aircraft could not carry. Directed energy weapons require enormous amounts of electrical power. Current fighters simply cannot generate enough to operate them continuously. The adaptive cycle engine's additional cooling and electrical power capacity, confirmed by Pratt & Whitney in its February update, is explicitly intended to support the future integration of directed energy systems into the F-47. That means laser weapons, weapons that travel at the speed of light, that do not require missiles or bullets, that cost pennies per shot compared with hundreds of thousands of dollars for a conventional air-to-air missile, and that can engage threats too fast or too numerous for conventional weapons to handle. The F-47 is being built to carry those systems the moment they are ready, because the airframe and power plant are designed to support them from the beginning. The artificial intelligence integration that the aircraft carries is equally consequential. The F-47 is designed around the concept of a single pilot operating as a systems manager rather than a conventional aviator. Flying the aircraft, in the traditional sense of physically controlling its trajectory and energy state, is handled primarily by the aircraft's own computational systems. The pilot's attention is directed toward the larger combat situation, commanding a formation of collaborative combat aircraft, the autonomous drone wingman that will fly alongside the F-47 in every future air combat scenario the Air Force anticipates. These drones are not remote-controlled aircraft in any conventional sense. They are autonomous systems capable of carrying weapons, sensors, and electronic warfare packages, of detecting and engaging threats without continuous human input, and of absorbing the most dangerous assignments in a contested battle space so that the crewed aircraft can operate from a position of relative safety. A single 47, in the operational concept the Air Force has been developing for years, becomes the command node for a distributed combat force. It becomes, as analysts have repeatedly described it, the quarterback for an AI-driven swarm, directing assets spread across a much larger volume of airspace than any previous fighter formation could cover. As of February 27, 2026, General Dale White of the Air Force confirmed that the F-47 program remains on time and on target for a first flight in 2028, and that the first airframe was already in manufacturing at Boeing's new Advanced Combat Aircraft facility in St. Louis, Missouri. If the F-47 performs the way engineers believe it will, it may do more than replace today's fighters. It may redefine what air superiority means in the 21st century. When the Anka 3 emerged from its hangar in November 2023, defense analysts around the world had to do a double take. This was not supposed to happen. A country that had been locked out of the F-35 program just a few years earlier had somehow built a flying wing stealth combat drone that looked like it belonged in a superpower's arsenal. How did Turkey pull this off? And what does their sudden emergence as a stealth aircraft manufacturer mean for an already tense global defense landscape? Join us as we explore the 10 most shocking aspects of Turkey's Anka 3 program. The event took place at the Turkish aerospace industry site close to Ankara during what was meant to be a normal display of Turkey's increasing defense abilities. Journalists were invited, along with military leaders and some foreign guests. No one anticipated what would happen next. When the hangar doors opened and the Anka 3 appeared, everyone fell silent. People were amazed not only because Turkey created a stealth drone, but also because of the specific type of stealth drone they built. The design, shaped like a flying wing with no vertical fins and smooth surfaces, showed some of the best aerospace engineering globally. Other countries with much more experience and money had a hard time getting this design right. Yet Turkey presented something that seemed to fit in the same category as the American B-21 Raider or the Chinese GJ-11. Defense journalists and military attachés started taking photos immediately. Some were impressed, calling it a genuine breakthrough that nobody saw coming. Others were skeptical, questioning whether the aircraft was actually functional or just a full-scale mock-up designed to generate headlines. A few Western analysts seemed almost offended, as if Turkey had broken some unspoken rule about who gets to build fifth-generation stealth aircraft. Regardless of their reactions, everyone understood they were witnessing something significant. The aircraft itself looked menacing in person. Painted in a dark gray scheme with sharp angular edges blending into smooth curves, it had that distinctive tailless flying wing profile that signals stealth to anyone who knows aircraft design. No tail fins jutting up to catch radar. No obvious engine intakes creating radar hotspots. Just clean, continuous surfaces designed to scatter electromagnetic waves in every direction except back toward the source. Turkish officials spoke briefly at the presentation. They said the aircraft is called the Anka and that it is made for high altitude, long missions, and will eventually carry smart bombs. After that, they stopped talking. There were no details about its specifications, performance, or when it would be ready for use. The message was clear. Turkey had built something impressive, and the world could figure out the details on its own time. What made the whole thing more shocking was the timeline. Just 4 years earlier, in 2019, the United States had kicked Turkey out of the F-35 Joint Strike Fighter program. The reason? Turkey had bought Russian S-400 air defense systems, and Washington considered that an unacceptable security risk. Losing access to the F-35 was supposed to be devastating for Turkey's Air Force modernization plans. American officials assumed it would force Ankara to come back to the table on American terms. Turkey's aerospace industry did not appear overnight. The country had been building toward this moment for decades, slowly developing the technical expertise and industrial base necessary to design and manufacture advanced aircraft. Turkish Aerospace Industries, the state-owned company behind Anka 3, traces its roots back to the 1970s. Back then, they were assembling American and European aircraft under license, learning the fundamentals of aviation manufacturing one rivet at a time. The real turning point came in the 2000s when Turkey committed to developing indigenous defense capabilities. Tired of depending on foreign suppliers who could cut them off at any moment for political reasons, Ankara started pouring money into domestic research and development. The initial projects were modest, upgrading existing aircraft, developing subsystems, and building unmanned aerial vehicles for reconnaissance missions. Each success built confidence and capability. The original Anka program, which began in the early 2000s, focused on creating a medium-altitude, long-endurance surveillance drone. It was not particularly sophisticated by global standards, but it worked, and more importantly, it was entirely Turkish. Engineers learned how to design airframes, integrate avionics, develop flight control systems, and manage complex aerospace projects from start to finish. Those skills became the foundation for everything that followed. By the time Turkey started working on Anka 3, they had accumulated nearly 2 decades of hands-on experience in unmanned aircraft development. They had also established partnerships with foreign companies willing to share technology, acquired advanced manufacturing equipment, and trained a generation of aerospace engineers who understood both the theory and practice of building military aircraft. The knowledge gap between Turkey and the traditional aerospace powers had been narrowing for years. Anka 3 was the moment that gap closed enough to matter. What separates Anka 3 from earlier Turkish aircraft is not just its stealth characteristics, but also its operational concept. This was designed from the start as a combat platform, not a surveillance asset that might eventually carry weapons. The flying wing configuration maximizes internal weapons bay capacity while maintaining a low radar cross-section. That means Anka 3 can carry precision-guided bombs and air-to-ground missiles hidden inside its fuselage, launching them without compromising its stealth profile. The aircraft reportedly has a wingspan of around 15 meters and an operational ceiling exceeding 40,000 feet. Those numbers put it in the same category as other high-altitude stealth drones, capable of loitering over target areas for extended periods while remaining difficult to detect. The jet engine, which appears to be mounted internally with carefully designed intakes and exhausts, provides the thrust needed for long-range missions and high-speed attacks. Stealth technology requires obsessive attention to detail. Every surface, every seam, every panel has to be precisely engineered to minimize radar reflection. Turkey apparently succeeded in mastering the complex materials science, computational modeling, and manufacturing precision required to make this work. That alone represents a massive technological achievement, one that places Turkey in an extremely exclusive club of nations capable of producing operational stealth aircraft. The flight control system deserves special attention. Flying wing designs are inherently unstable. Without a traditional tail providing natural stability, the aircraft relies entirely on computer-controlled surfaces and thrust vectoring to stay in the air. The software managing these systems has to make thousands of tiny adjustments per second, correcting for wind, turbulence, and pilot inputs faster than any human could react. Getting that software right requires years of testing and refinement. Turkey apparently got it right. The avionics system is another big success. Modern stealth planes need advanced technology to combine information from radar, infrared cameras, electronic warfare systems, and other sources into one clear view. Anka-3 is said to have a special radar that can track several targets at the same time while staying hard to detect. This type of radar needs advanced technology and processing methods that Turkey likely created or obtained despite restrictions on exports. The weapons integration system also shows considerable sophistication. Internal weapons bays must open, release munitions, and close again in a matter of seconds without compromising stealth. That requires precise mechanical systems, careful aerodynamic design, and software that coordinates everything perfectly. Turkish engineers apparently solved these problems, though exactly how they managed it remains unclear. The aircraft can reportedly carry a mix of guided bombs and cruise missiles, giving it genuine strike capability against both fixed and mobile targets. Building Anka-3 was not just a technical challenge, it was a logistical and industrial one. Creating an aircraft this sophisticated requires hundreds of specialized suppliers providing everything from advanced composites to precision machine components. Turkey had to either develop these capabilities domestically or find foreign partners willing to provide them, despite potential political pressure from the United States and other Western nations. Reports suggest Turkish engineers faced significant obstacles obtaining certain critical technologies, particularly advanced jet engines and some electronic warfare systems. International arms embargoes and technology transfer restrictions meant they could not simply buy what they needed from established suppliers. Instead, they had to improvise, reverse engineer, and develop indigenous alternatives. The fact that Anka-3 exists at all suggests they succeeded in overcoming most of these obstacles. The engine situation was difficult. High-performance jet engines require exotic materials, precision manufacturing, and decades of accumulated engineering knowledge. Turkey initially tried to develop its own turbofan engine, but apparently encountered difficulties meeting performance requirements. Industry sources suggest they eventually secured engines through partnerships with Ukrainian manufacturers, who faced fewer restrictions on sales to Turkey. Whether those engines meet all of Anka's requirements or represent a temporary solution until domestic alternatives are ready remains unclear. Composite materials were another major hurdle. Stealth aircraft use specialized radar-absorbent materials that are difficult to manufacture and highly classified. Turkey had to either develop these materials from scratch or find suppliers willing to sell them despite potential diplomatic complications. Engineers reportedly spent years experimenting with different chemical formulations and manufacturing processes before achieving materials that met their requirements. Some of those materials may still fall short of what American or Chinese stealth aircraft use, but they apparently work well enough to make Anka genuinely difficult to detect. Testing had its own challenges. Stealth aircraft need specialized facilities to measure their radar cross-sections accurately. They need secure testing ranges where foreign intelligence services cannot easily observe their performance. Turkey reportedly built new testing infrastructure specifically for Anka-3, including radar measurement facilities and expanded flight test ranges. That infrastructure investment will pay dividends for future programs. The reactions from Turkey's NATO allies range from uncomfortable to outright hostile. American defense officials publicly downplayed Anka-3's significance, suggesting it was less capable than Turkish officials claimed. Privately, the response was more concerned. Turkey developing advanced stealth capabilities independently meant they were less dependent on American military technology and therefore harder to influence through traditional diplomatic channels. Greece, Turkey's historic rival and fellow NATO member, watched the unveiling with alarm. The two countries have unresolved territorial disputes in the Aegean Sea and tensions over Cyprus that occasionally flare into military confrontations. The Anka-3 gives Turkey a significant new capability in any potential conflict, one that Greece currently has no equivalent for. Greek defense officials immediately began discussions about acquiring their own advanced drones or developing countermeasures. European countries reacted in different ways. Some, especially those with defense companies that could work with Turkey, saw a chance for cooperation. Others were concerned about stability in the Eastern Mediterranean and whether Turkey's increasing military strength would make it more difficult to control within NATO. Additionally, Turkey's ability to do this while still having ties with Russia raised more worries among Europeans. Russia reacted calmly. Moscow has its own advanced military aircraft programs and probably saw Anka-3 as proof that selling air defense systems to Turkey was a good choice, rather than seeing it as a direct threat. In fact, Turkey's ability to develop its own technology likely made it a more appealing partner for Russia, showing that Turkey has strong technical skills and is willing to resist pressure from the West. Saudi Arabia is interested in Turkish defense products and has already bought earlier versions of the Anka drones for spying missions. The new Anka-3 is a big improvement that might attract the Saudis, especially because they are involved in military actions in Yemen and have issues with Iran. The main concern is whether Turkey would hurt its relationships with Western allies by selling stealth combat drones to controversial customers in the Middle East. The United Arab Emirates faces similar considerations. Abu Dhabi has been working to reduce its dependence on American military technology after Washington blocked certain weapon sales over human rights concerns. Turkish stealth drones offer an attractive alternative, though political complications around the Abraham Accords and Turkish-Israeli tensions could complicate any potential deals. Qatar, which is Turkey's main ally in the Gulf, likely has access to the Anka if they choose to. The two countries work closely together in military matters, including having a Turkish military base in Qatar. If Qatar buys Turkish stealth drones, it could change the power balance in the region, especially with the current tensions with Saudi Arabia and the UAE. This possibility probably worries other Gulf countries a lot. Pakistan is another potential customer with strategic implications. The country maintains close military ties with Turkey and desperately needs to modernize its air capabilities to counter India's growing military strength. Turkish stealth drones could provide Pakistan with asymmetric capabilities against a much larger adversary, though the technology transfer and cost considerations would require careful negotiation. Israel, which maintains a complex relationship with Turkey involving both cooperation and competition, viewed Anka-3 through the lens of regional power dynamics. Israeli defense officials recognized that Turkey was positioning itself as a major military power in the Eastern Mediterranean and Middle East. That could complicate Israeli military planning, particularly regarding freedom of action in Syrian airspace. When compared to other stealth combat drones, Anka-3 sits in interesting territory. It is more ambitious than most existing platforms, but less proven than systems from the United States or China. The American MQ-25 Stingray, for example, represents the current state-of-the-art in carrier-based stealth drones, but that program has taken nearly a decade and cost billions of dollars. China's GJ-11 Sharp Sword drone demonstrated flying-wing stealth capabilities years before Anka-3, but details about its operational status remain classified. What makes the Anka-3 particularly significant is not necessarily its absolute capabilities, but what it represents for Turkey's defense industry. This aircraft demonstrates that a nation outside the traditional aerospace superpowers can develop genuinely advanced military aviation technology if they commit sufficient resources and expertise. That changes the calculus for countries considering their own indigenous aircraft programs. The true combat ability of the aircraft is still not tested. Stealth technology is most effective when it works with advanced electronic warfare tools, better sensors, and connections to larger military systems. Creating the aircraft is one task. Creating the whole system that makes it work well in battle is another. Turkey will need many years of testing and improvements before Anka-3 can perform at its best. Turkey having stealth combat drones is important for more than just its military strength. For many years, powerful countries have used advanced military technology to control smaller nations. If you want advanced fighter jets, you need to maintain good relations with the US or Russia. If you need modern air defense systems, you should hope that China or European group agrees with your political stance. Turkey's success with Anka-3 weakens that dynamic. If Ankara can build its own stealth aircraft, other nations might conclude they can too. That could accelerate the proliferation of advanced military technology to countries that previously had no realistic path to acquiring it. The exclusive club of nations capable of producing cutting-edge military aircraft is expanding, and that has profound implications for global security. Regional power balances will change. In the Eastern Mediterranean, Turkey now possesses capabilities that give it significant military advantages over neighbors. In the Middle East, Turkey becomes a more credible military power broker, able to offer sophisticated weapon systems to allies while demonstrating its own technological prowess. That enhanced status could translate into greater diplomatic influence. The relationship between Turkey and NATO faces new complications. Alliance cohesion depends partly on interoperability and shared systems. Turkey increasingly operates military equipment that does not integrate with NATO standard systems, creating potential coordination problems in any joint operations. At the same time, Turkey's enhanced capabilities make it a more valuable ally in scenarios where NATO needs regional military power projection. Arms export markets will also shift. Turkey has been aggressively marketing its defense products internationally, and Anka 3 gives Turkish defense companies a prestigious flagship product to showcase. Countries that feel uncomfortable with the political conditions attached to American or European weapons might view Turkey as an attractive alternative supplier. That could generate significant revenue while expanding Turkey's geopolitical influence. The question now is what comes next. Will Turkey stop with Anka 3, content to have proven its capabilities, or is this just the beginning of a broader push into advanced military aviation? Rumors already circulate about potential manned stealth fighter programs and more ambitious drone designs. Turkish aerospace engineers who cut their teeth on Anka 3 now have the expertise to tackle even more complex projects. International partnerships could accelerate Turkish progress. Several nations have expressed interest in collaborating on future Turkish aircraft programs, potentially providing access to technologies and expertise that would take years to develop independently. Those partnerships could help Turkey leapfrog certain developmental stages while generating revenue and diplomatic benefits. Other nations are watching and learning. If Turkey can develop stealth aircraft despite limited resources and international restrictions, what might larger or wealthier countries achieve with similar determination? The proliferation of advanced military technology seems likely to accelerate, driven partly by Turkey's example. The exclusive club of nations capable of producing cutting-edge weapons continues to expand. The world may never look at Turkey's defense industry the same way again. What was once dismissed as a regional player capable of producing decent but unexceptional military equipment has demonstrated the ability to compete with aerospace superpowers. Anka 3 forced a reassessment of Turkish technological capabilities and ambitions. Whether that aircraft ever fires a shot in combat almost doesn't matter. Its existence has already changed calculations in capitals around the world. The question is no longer whether Turkey can build advanced military aircraft. The question is what they will build next. Deadly and formidable, the B-21 Raider's capabilities have sent shockwaves throughout the world of aviation. If the NGAD is America's next-generation Sky Predator, this $300 million stealth bomber is its silent shadow, poised to dominate any battlefield once revealed. Sleek, stealthy, and designed to evade radar, it could redefine the rules of aerial power. How will rival nations react to such a looming threat? And can any defense truly withstand the B-21's potential reach? Join us as we unveil the deadly capabilities of the B-21 and how formidable it is against even the sixth-generation air fighters. The goal of the B-21 Raider program was clear from the beginning: to produce a strategic bomber that was operationally successful and cost-controlled, not an experimental one-off marvel. Setting new standards for sixth-generation technology, its advanced stealth and low observable design reduce maintenance costs, while an open architecture allows rapid upgrades in weapons and software. Combined with advanced networking and cloud integration, the B-21 is built to adapt and dominate against evolving threats for decades. It is the backbone of future U.S. air power, combining advanced sensors, data integration, and weapon systems. Capable of carrying both conventional and nuclear payloads, it delivers unmatched flexibility, using a mix of standoff and direct attack munitions to remain one of the most lethal and effective aircraft in the sky. Unlike traditional programs, details of the long-range strike bomber program's spending remain highly classified, making it nearly impossible to publicly track efficiency or cost adherence. Almost 11 years later, in December of 2022, the public finally glimpsed the results of Northrop's engineers' dedication. While some critics dismissed it as merely a B-2 version 2, the comparison is unfair. The Raider is deliberately smaller than its predecessor, with a wingspan of approximately 132 feet compared to the B-2's 172 feet, and an empty weight roughly half that of the Spirit. This smaller size is not a compromise but a design advantage. In stealth aircraft, bigger does not automatically mean better. Modern radar systems are countered not by sheer size but by advanced sensors, sophisticated signal processing, and integrated multiband systems. Reducing the aircraft's size dramatically lowers its effective scattering area, or ESR. For context, the B-1 Lancer's ESR was roughly 10 square meters, similar to a passenger car flying through the sky. The B-2 Spirit reduced that to a mere point, akin to a bumblebee or golf ball on radar, and the B-21 Raider pushes this even further, with an ESR so minuscule it is compared to a mosquito. This low-profile yet potent design allows the Raider to slip through hostile defenses with unprecedented stealth, maintaining operational and strategic superiority, while demonstrating that careful engineering, innovation, and precision can create an aircraft that is as cost-effective as it is virtually invisible to enemy sensors. The difference between the B-2 Spirit and the B-21 Raider in stealth technology is like comparing the surface of the ocean to the Mariana Trench. The Spirit employed first-generation stealth, innovative for its time, but largely concentrated in the forward section of the aircraft, leaving the rear more exposed. The Raider, however, benefits from fifth-generation plus stealth parameters, with every bolt, seam, and surface engineered to minimize detection across radio frequency, infrared, and acoustic ranges, rendering it virtually invisible in all 360 degrees. Its compact size allows it to penetrate heavily defended airspaces, strike targets, or gather intelligence where the B-2 would face serious risk. Unlike its predecessor, the Raider is free from the burdensome maintenance that made the Spirit infamous. The B-2 required specially controlled hangars in precise environmental conditions, and after each flight, nearly 40% of the 80 man-hours per flight hour were spent repairing low observable materials, according to the Government Accountability Office. These issues are essentially eliminated in the B-21, allowing for operational readiness from day one. Many worried that the smaller frame would compromise range, but range is not merely about wingspan. It results from fuel efficiency, aerodynamics, engine performance, and mission profile. Modern engines, lighter yet more powerful systems, and refined mission planning mean that the Raider can deliver ordnance across vast distances while staying outside enemy air defense zones, a capability unimaginable when the Spirit first took to the skies almost 3 decades ago. The combination of advanced stealth, optimized aerodynamics, and modern systems ensures that the B-21 Raider is not just a successor, but a revolutionary step forward in strategic bombing. Smaller, faster, harder to detect, easier to maintain, and far more capable in real-world operations, proving that true technological evolution is not measured by size alone, but by how intelligently every aspect of the aircraft is designed and integrated. The evolution of modern strategic bombing has increasingly favored standoff weapons, and the introduction of the nuclear-armed AGM-181 long-range standoff, or LRSO, cruise missile, alongside the upgraded B-611-3 nuclear bomb, underscores the reality that many critical missions are now carried out from a safe distance. While this might seem at odds with the B-21 Raider's traditional role as a stealthy penetrator of enemy air defenses, modern threats, multi-layered networks of low-frequency radars, high-resolution infrared systems, passive sensors, and trace correlation technologies have made blind strikes extremely risky. To address this, the Raider was designed as a hybrid platform, retaining the ability to quietly infiltrate heavily defended areas to strike well-protected targets that require close-range precision, while also serving as a long-range launch platform capable of deploying munitions safely outside hostile zones. Engine development remains one of the most closely watched aspects of the program. Early reports suggested the B-21 might use 2 Pratt & Whitney PW9000 turbofans built around the cores of the PW1000G commercial engines. But the latest insights point to modified F-135 engines, the same proven power plants familiar from F-35 fighters. These engines offer both exceptional performance and cost efficiency, reflecting the ingenuity of Northrop's engineers, who have continuously refined stealth aircraft design since the B-21's conceptual ancestor, the Tacit Blue. Innovations such as deeply recessed air intakes and optimized engine integration ensure that the Raider remains exceptionally stealthy while providing the thrust and efficiency needed for both long-range cruise and agile penetration missions. This hybrid approach allows the B-21 to operate with flexibility, delivering precision strike capability across a wide spectrum of strategic and tactical missions, while minimizing risk to air crew and platform alike, demonstrating how modern bombers are evolving into multi-role, adaptive instruments of deterrence and warfare. The B-21 Raider also represents a huge change in bomber philosophy, moving away from one-off masterpieces toward flexible, long-term combat platforms. Unlike the B-2 Spirit, whose stealth came from precise shaping and coatings, the Raider is designed from the ground up as an open mission system, allowing new components to be integrated over decades, much like updating an app on a smartphone. This adaptability shows the approach being taken with the Air Force's next-generation, sixth-generation fighter under the Next Generation Air Dominance program, emphasizing connectivity and network-centric warfare. The Raider is intended to operate as the backbone of the future bomber fleet as the B-1 and B-2 gradually retire, while the upgraded B-52 continues to serve. Northrop Grumman plans to test fly 2 bombers as early as 2026, with aircraft so close to final production that rapid deployment is feasible if needed. Extensive virtual testing, over 1,000 hours of avionics trials on unmanned platforms, and a digital-first approach have ensured the B-21 is battle-ready beyond typical prototype limitations. The Air Force's preliminary target calls for a fleet of 100 B-21 Raiders, with at least $23 billion allocated over 30 years for development, procurement, and operations, 5 times the number of B-2 Spirits built during their entire lifecycle. While the B-2 became an iconic proof of stealth, the Raider is designed to be a stable, scalable force component, quietly underpinning every Air Force operation rather than dominating headlines. Its open architecture allows the aircraft to adapt to evolving mission requirements without costly overhauls, ensuring decades of operational relevance. The era of stealth as an exotic, delicate craft has ended. The B-21 makes invisibility a standard feature of modern combat aviation, combining enduring utility, scalability, and cutting-edge technology into a single powerful backbone for the U.S. strategic bomber force. The B-21 is so formidable that it could even take out an air fighter as sophisticated as the United States' next-generation fighter, the NGAD. This is quite surprising because the NGAD itself represents the cutting edge of aerial warfare, a sleek, sixth-generation fighter under the Next Generation Air Dominance program. Valued at over $300 million per aircraft, this fighter is a leap into a future the world is barely prepared for, combining unmatched stealth, lightning-fast sensors, and global strike capability into a single, sleek, aerodynamic silhouette. Its elongated blended fuselage defies conventional aerodynamics, hiding within it 3 revolutionary technologies that will determine the course of modern air combat: advanced radar, adaptive cycle engines, and near-invisible stealth systems. The fighter's active electronically scanned array radar, or AESA radar, is unlike anything before it, eliminating clunky mechanical components in favor of a compact, highly reliable system that can scan vast volumes of airspace and planetary surfaces with incredible speed, track multiple targets simultaneously, resist electronic warfare attacks, and detect even the most elusive stealth threats. Moving beyond traditional radar mounts, the NGAD fighter integrates smart skins into its fuselage, fusing sensing, electronic warfare, and communications into a single multimodal array, creating a seamless, godlike tactical awareness of the battlefield. This radar fusion provides super-fast scanning, spherical coverage, ultra-high-resolution sensing, precise friend or foe identification, narrow and wide beam targeting, and unmatched electronic countermeasure capabilities, all in one elegant package. Its armament suite ensures the fighter can strike targets anywhere across the globe, while its stealth systems allow it to operate undetected in hostile environments, effectively hiding in plain sight. The aircraft is more than a machine. It is a strategic deterrent, an invisible guardian capable of neutralizing threats before a conflict even begins. Just as the F-22 Raptor redefined air dominance for the last 2 decades, the NGAD fighter promises to carry American aerospace supremacy into a new era, combining speed, agility, sensor superiority, and firepower in a way that other nations can only dream of replicating. For military enthusiasts and aviation lovers, it is a glimpse into a future where war is not just fought with weapons, but with information, stealth, and precision technology that turns the very sky into an invisible battlefield. Every detail of this fighter, from its advanced adaptive cycle engines to its revolutionary AESA arrays and integrated sensor skins, speaks of a vision where physics bends, electronics dominate, and aerial supremacy is absolute, ensuring that for decades to come, the United States will remain the uncontested master of the skies. The NGAD self-sufficient active electronically scanned array radars, or AESA radars, allow upgrades in both software and hardware to happen with remarkable ease, drastically reducing the time required to test and validate multiple functions. Under the NGAD program, this capability is the cornerstone of an entire family of systems, including manned 6th-generation fighters, unmanned combat aircraft, and their shared sensor networks. Should both manned and unmanned platforms carry the same AESA radar family, integration across the fleet would become seamless, unlocking enormous economies of scale and simplifying field maintenance for operators. Fewer system types, common replacement units, and shared parts mean that maintaining the force becomes more efficient, while software updates could propagate across platforms almost instantly with a one-update-fits-all solution. Yet this extraordinary level of sensor fusion remains a delicate art, demanding exceptional skill and ingenuity to pull off. But with the brightest American minds driving the program, its mastery is not a question of if, but when. Complementing this technological marvel is the fighter's stealth, the silent guardian that turns a 20-ton flying vehicle into a ghost in the sky. Stealth is not a single piece of equipment, but a carefully orchestrated set of measures designed to evade both the human eye and the prying waves of enemy radar. The NGAD fighter's stealth combines extreme reductions in radar cross-section, infrared signature, and acoustic footprint, ensuring it moves undetected over hostile terrain. While the exact methods are tightly classified, careful analysis suggests a blend of cutting-edge materials, precise aerodynamics, and advanced heat management, all working in harmony to render the aircraft virtually invisible. The radar cross-section, the measure of how much radar energy reflects back to the source, is minimized to unprecedented levels, while its infrared emissions are carefully managed to avoid detection from heat-seeking sensors. Acoustic emissions are dampened, making even its roar nearly inaudible to adversaries below. Together, these innovations allow the NGAD fighter to approach targets globally, strike with lethal precision, and vanish without a trace. It is a machine that embodies the future of air combat, combining unmatched situational awareness, integrated unmanned and manned capabilities, and almost supernatural stealth. For enthusiasts and military professionals alike, it represents a vision where technology bends the laws of physics, information dominates the battlefield, and American air power is projected in ways the world has never seen, securing dominance for decades while redefining what it means to be untouchable in the sky. To survive in modern air combat, an aircraft must be nearly invisible, not only to the naked eye, but also to the prying eyes of radar, infrared sensors, and even sound detectors, and the NGAD fighter achieves this through a revolutionary combination of design, materials, and technology. Radar detection works by bouncing energy off aircraft, and the less energy returned, the harder it is to spot. So the NGAD fighter is sculpted with smooth, angular surfaces that deflect radar waves away from their sources, rather than reflecting them back. Its design is unprecedented, with no vertical stabilizers to create reflective surfaces, making it the first fighter in history to adopt such a stealthy form. Radar-absorbent materials coat its entire frame, scattering or soaking up signals, while heat management systems, inspired by extreme Arctic technology, cools engines and exhausts, cutting down the aircraft's infrared signature. Heat sinks and exchangers redistribute thermal energy across the fuselage or release it to the surrounding air, and engines are carefully shielded to stay out of enemy infrared sensors' direct view. Acoustic stealth is equally critical. Noise can betray a mission, so the NGAD fighter is engineered to operate nearly silently, with engines, fans, and propulsive systems tuned for noise cancellation, masking, and suppression. The combination of minimal radar reflection, heat reduction, and sound suppression enables the fighter to penetrate heavily defended zones undetected, hover for critical moments, and strike with precision before vanishing into the skies. Powering this airborne ghost is an engine under development in the Next Generation Adaptive Propulsion Program, or NGAP, a sub-program of NGAD dedicated to creating a revolutionary jet engine. This engine is so advanced that nearly $3 billion in contracts have been awarded to industry giants, including Pratt Whitney, General Electric, Boeing, Lockheed Martin, and Northrop Grumman, reflecting the enormous complexity and ambition of the project. Adaptive cycle technology promises engines capable of extraordinary efficiency, variable thrust, and superior speed across multiple flight regimes, complementing the fighter's stealth and avionics to produce a machine capable of dominating any airspace. Every aspect of the NGAD fighter, from its shape down to its coatings, from its heat management to its whisper-quiet propulsion, is carefully calculated to give the United States an unmatched edge in air combat. This is not merely a fighter, it is a strategic instrument, combining intelligence, stealth, and raw power into a single seamless package that can strike anywhere in the world, survive where others would be destroyed, and redefine what it means to rule the skies. For aviation enthusiasts and military professionals alike, it represents the pinnacle of aerospace ingenuity, a glimpse into a future where technology bends the laws of detection and dominance in the air becomes absolute. The NGAD fighter program is poised to redefine air combat, and the engines at its heart are central to this revolution. Some of the companies contracted to develop the NGAP engines, including 3 firms with no historical experience building jet engines, could deliver a radical new integration of airframe and propulsion, creating a fighter unlike anything seen before. These engines are adaptive cycle designs, capable of switching between high-speed, high-thrust, and long-range, high-efficiency modes at will, giving the aircraft unmatched versatility across subsonic, transonic, and supersonic flight. Using a 3-stream architecture, a third bypass stream allows the engine to divert airflow for fuel efficiency or channel it to the core for maximum power, letting the fighter enjoy the best of both worlds without compromise. When paired with the NGAD's self-sufficient AESA radars, advanced stealth coatings, and integrated sensor skins, these engines complete a platform designed to dominate any battlefield. Kinetic weapons, lasers, and an arsenal of precision-guided munitions make the fighter an undetectable, unstoppable force. The Air Force's vision, revealed by Secretary Lieutenant Colonel Frank Kendall, calls for 200 NGAD fighters operating alongside 300 F-35 Lightning IIs, each supported by 2 unmanned loyal wingmen, forming a 500-strong integrated fleet of 5th and 6th generation aircraft. With over $4.2 billion already invested, an additional $11.7 billion slated between fiscal years 2024 and 2027, and at least $40 billion more expected over the coming years, the NGAD fighter represents the largest leap in American jet propulsion and aerial combat in decades, and is expected to enter service around the 2030s to succeed the F-22 Raptor as the world's top air superiority fighter. If the B-21 can outmatch the NGAD, then 6th-generation fighters from rival nations may stand little chance at all. Its stealth, advanced sensors, and unmatched firepower make it a near-untouchable force, redefining aerial dominance and leaving adversaries scrambling against a stealthy, lethal, and unmatched American aerial force. America's skies are about to change forever with the revolutionary Boeing F-47, our latest stealth fighter. Combining cutting-edge design with unmatched speed and agility, this aircraft redefines modern warfare. In this video, we'll dive into the secrets of its stealth technology, innovative engineering, and the game-changing impact it promises for America's defense. Buckle up and join us as we explore America's new stealth fighter, the Boeing F-47. On Friday, March 21, 2025, a groundbreaking announcement was made in the Oval Office that will forever alter the landscape of U.S. air power. President Donald Trump, alongside Secretary of Defense Pete Hegseth and Air Force Chief of Staff General David Alvin, personally declared Boeing the winner of the Next Generation Air Dominance (NGAD) fighter initiative. This historic moment, delivered in one of America's most iconic settings, underscored the nation's commitment to advancing its tactical air capabilities and set the stage for a bold leap into the future of aerial combat. President Trump revealed that an experimental version of the F-47 has been secretly soaring through the skies for nearly 5 years. According to him, this aircraft is far beyond anything any other nation has ever built. "There's no competition," he declared. "I've seen every other jet out there, and nothing even comes close. This isn't just an upgrade, it's a whole new level. You know, level 5 is good," he said, "but this is level 6. The F-47 is armed with cutting-edge stealth technology, making it virtually invisible to enemy detection. It possesses unparalleled power, setting a new benchmark for fighter jets. It's the most powerful aircraft of its kind ever created," Trump stated. "And its maneuverability? Unmatched. Nothing like it has ever existed before. Speed is another jaw-dropping feature. It's faster than anything people are used to, over Mach 2, he added. That's something you don't hear very often." Beyond its speed and power, the true purpose of the F-47 is to maintain America's dominance in the skies. According to Trump, America's enemies will never see it coming, and if the aircraft is ever needed in combat, adversaries will have no chance to react. However, he expressed hope that it would never have to be used for such purposes. A new fleet of these groundbreaking jets is set to be built and deployed under his administration within the next few years. He assured that production is already well underway, with factories and facilities prepared. His vision is to ensure that the United States continues to lead the world in air superiority. At the core of this monumental development is Boeing's revolutionary 6th-generation stealth fighter, now designated the F-47. This aircraft is far more than just an upgraded jet. It represents a complete transformation in the way air combat will be conducted. With its state-of-the-art stealth features, incredible speed, and unmatched maneuverability, the F-47 is engineered to counter emerging threats and redefine the very nature of modern warfare. The U.S. Air Force plans to begin fielding this game-changing fighter within the next decade, highlighting an urgent need to maintain technological superiority in an increasingly unpredictable world. The NGAD initiative is designed to develop a next-generation fighter platform that can operate with other advanced systems. Born from the need to outpace global threats, the program integrates innovative technologies into an adaptable combat jet. Previously shrouded in uncertainty over costs and strategic relevance, the renewed commitment from this announcement has breathed new life into the initiative, paving the way for a future where American air power leads global defense. While the announcement itself is a major milestone, it is equally important to consider the long and storied competition that has brought us to this point. The race to create the ultimate fighter jet has long been a contest between two of America's most storied defense contractors, Boeing and Lockheed Martin. Lockheed Martin, with its celebrated F-22 Raptor and F-35 Lightning II, has been a dominant force in military aviation for decades. Their designs have set high standards in stealth, agility, and technological innovation, becoming symbols of American prowess in the skies. However, this rivalry is steeped in a rich historical context that dates back to the Cold War era. During those tense years, the need for air superiority drove both companies to push the limits of engineering and design. Every new aircraft was a critical piece in the puzzle of national security, and competition was fierce as both firms sought to secure America's strategic interests. The innovations born from this rivalry led to rapid advancements in technology, from cutting-edge stealth materials to sophisticated flight control systems, all of which have shaped the modern fighter jets we see today. Despite Lockheed Martin's illustrious history and its impressive portfolio of advanced aircraft, Boeing's recent triumph in the NGAD fighter initiative signals a potential shift in the balance of power within the defense industry. Boeing's approach with the F-47 leverages decades of aviation experience and a fresh perspective on the challenges of modern warfare. Their success is a testament to the company's relentless drive to innovate and redefine what is possible in military aviation. This victory is not merely about winning a contract. It represents a bold statement that Boeing is ready to lead the next generation of fighter jets into an era where agility, stealth, and speed are paramount. On the day the F-47 was announced, the world of military aviation was buzzing with excitement and curiosity about what this new stealth fighter would look like. Although we have only 2 image renders from the Air Force, they already tell us a lot about this mysterious aircraft. One image shows a plane with a very distinct chine starting right from the nose, a sharp, angular line that gives the jet an aggressive, futuristic look. The other image is more artistic, with much of the aircraft hidden in swirling clouds and vapor, adding an air of mystery to its design. One of the more striking details in the clear render is the suggestion of canards. These small, wing-like structures, which appear to have a high dihedral angle, could help improve the plane's maneuverability and overall stealth. The fact that the other render doesn't show these canards might be due to artistic license or simply a different angle that hides certain features. However, both images agree on one unusual characteristic. The wings seem to share the same high dihedral angle. This design choice is not common among fighters and is likely a deliberate measure to enhance stealth capabilities. Many modern jets like the F-22 and F-35, and even some Chinese fighters like the J-20 and J-36, have a radar signal trap when the wing meets the lower fuselage. In contrast, the F-47 appears to avoid this pitfall by presenting a single diamond-like cross-section when viewed from below or the sides. This streamlined design could be a game-changer, offering a significant advantage in evading radar detection. When we compare this new fighter to other iconic aircraft, a few interesting points come to light. For instance, Boeing's bird of prey demonstrator from the 1990s comes to mind. That small, experimental plane was famed for its incredibly low radar cross-section. In fact, it was so stealthy that while you could see it with the naked eye, fighter jet radar couldn't track it even from a few miles away. Its radar cross-section was rumored to be around -70 decibels, which is an impressive achievement, especially when you consider that the F-22's is about -40 decibels. Imagine that. The technology behind the bird of prey was already groundbreaking 30 years ago, and now we see echoes of that innovation in the F-47's design. The renders leave some mysteries too, as the rear half of the F-47 is not visible. This means we can only speculate about the design of its tail section, engines, and other key features that lie out of view. However, 2 more details stand out. First, the canopy appears fairly wide compared to the rest of the plane. A wide canopy could be an indication of enhanced pilot visibility and perhaps a more spacious cockpit, which might be designed for advanced avionics or even a dual-crew configuration in future variants. Second, the front landing gear is notably different. It has a single wheel rather than a twin-wheel setup, which is often seen in larger, heavier aircraft like the Chinese J-36 fighter. This detail suggests that the F-47 is not meant to be a massive behemoth with a 50-foot wingspan and weighing 70 tons. Instead, it likely falls in the size range of the F-22 or even a bit smaller, which would make it more agile and responsive in combat. This size and design philosophy could be a key factor in its operational role. A fighter jet that is not overly large can take advantage of increased speed, agility, and potentially lower maintenance costs, all while maintaining a strong stealth profile. In today's fast-changing combat environment, these factors are crucial. The ability to evade enemy radar and respond quickly to threats is at the heart of modern air combat. With the F-47, it seems Boeing is banking on a design that merges the best elements of past innovations with fresh, modern engineering. It's interesting to see how these features compare to those of other advanced fighters. The F-22 and F-35 have long been the benchmarks for stealth and agility in U.S. military aviation. Their designs have been refined over years of development and combat experience. On the other side of the globe, China's J-20 and the lesser-known J-36 have pushed the envelope in their own right, though they sometimes fall prey to design challenges like the radar signal trap mentioned earlier. The F-47, with its unique diamond-like cross-section and potential design refinements such as the canards and wing dihedral, seems poised to take lessons from these aircraft and perhaps even improve upon them. The subtle nod to Boeing's own heritage with the bird of prey is also a reminder of how far technology has come. The lessons learned from experimental aircraft decades ago continue to influence modern designs. It's like watching history repeat itself, only with a futuristic twist. It's easy to get excited about the possibilities of a new fighter jet, and the F-47 is no exception. At first glance, some details seem almost contradictory. For instance, the wide cockpit might make you wonder if the design features side-by-side seating. But then, if that were the case, why would the F-47 have a single-wheel front landing gear? Chances are that seating arrangement isn't in play. This simple observation tells us a lot about the design philosophy behind this new fighter. For many years, the Air Force talked about needing a large and heavy sixth-generation fighter. That was the path taken by China with its J-36, a design built on the idea that a bigger plane would offer more power and range. However, over the past year, hints have emerged suggesting that a smaller F-35 size fighter might be just as effective. The F-47 renders seem to back up this new approach. The fact that the F-47 might be more compact suggests that the Air Force is rethinking its priorities, focusing on agility and efficiency rather than sheer size. General Alvin, the Air Force Chief of Staff, released a statement loaded with praise for the F-47, calling it the most advanced, lethal, and adaptable fighter ever. He added that it is designed to outpace, outmatch, and outmaneuver any adversary. When you hear words like these, it really sets your mind racing with possibilities. Yet some of the phrasing raises interesting questions. Outmaneuver is not a word typically associated with next-generation fighters, which often sacrifice traditional turning ability in favor of stealth and speed. Instead, it might be more accurate to say the F-47 is built for agility. Its ability to rapidly change location and altitude in a split second could be the real game changer. How might this agility be achieved? One possibility is through advanced engines that offer the best of both worlds. Imagine an engine that can operate in turbofan mode for fuel efficiency during long patrols and then switch to turbojet mode when a burst of power is needed for quick maneuvers. This kind of dual-mode operation could give the F-47 an edge over current fighters by allowing it to conserve fuel without compromising on performance during critical moments. Another eyebrow-raising claim from General Alvin is about the fighter's range. He stated that the F-47 will have a significantly longer range than today's fifth-generation fighters. Currently, the F-35 boasts a combat radius of nearly 900 miles for air-to-air missions. How can a fighter that is presumably similar in size or even smaller manage to exceed that range? The answer might lie in engine efficiency. Advanced engines now in development are promising at least a 25% improvement in fuel efficiency over existing models. In addition, the F-35 is built as a multi-role aircraft, designed to carry heavy loads and endure long service lives of up to 40 years. In contrast, the F-47's airframe might be engineered for a shorter lifespan, designed to be replaced or upgraded much more frequently. This approach could allow for rapid technological refreshes, ensuring that the fighter always benefits from the latest innovations. It's fascinating to think about how these design choices reflect a shift in strategy. The Air Force once believed that a larger, more robust fighter was necessary to dominate the skies. But as technology advances, the emphasis seems to be moving toward nimbleness and efficiency. The F-47 might well be a symbol of this new approach. A fighter that is smaller but faster, with advanced engines that let it cover more ground, could change the way air combat is conducted in the future. By rethinking traditional design elements, the F-47 seems to blend lessons from past successes with bold new ideas. The possibility of a wide cockpit might initially hint at side-by-side seating, but the single-wheel front landing gear strongly suggests a different layout. This detail hints at a careful balance between pilot comfort and overall aircraft performance. A wide canopy might still allow for excellent visibility and situational awareness, even if the seating arrangement is more traditional. Such design decisions are likely driven by the need to keep the fighter's size manageable, thereby enhancing its agility. At the same time, this new fighter is positioned against a backdrop of evolving strategic thinking. The earlier vision of a bulky sixth-generation fighter, exemplified by China's J-36, is now being reconsidered in favor of a design more in line with the F-35. This shift reflects a broader trend in military aviation, where the focus is on creating platforms that can be updated more frequently, rather than relying on a single design to carry the burden of air dominance for decades. General Alvin's comments also suggest that the F-47 will be a multifaceted platform. By emphasizing the ability to outpace, outmatch, and outmaneuver, he paints a picture of a fighter that is not only fast but also versatile. The emphasis on rapid changes in location and altitude could indicate a design optimized for dynamic combat environments, where quick decisions and faster responses are critical. The F-47 is not only a leap forward in stealth technology, but also a smart, cost-effective design that promises to change the way we think about fighter jets. One interesting detail is that the F-47 may be built to carry only a few AMR/AAM-sized air-to-air missiles. This might seem like a limitation at first, but there's a clever twist. The Air Force has hinted that each F-47 will fly with more than 5 drones. These drones would serve as the primary missile carriers and shooters. In other words, the fighter jet itself wouldn't need to store a large arsenal of weapons. With the drones doing the heavy lifting in combat, the F-47 can remain lean and agile, reducing its overall weight and enhancing its stealth capabilities. Another interesting aspect is the use of novel construction methods, like metal printing, in building the F-47. This modern manufacturing process, along with other design optimizations, may allow engineers to create extra space for fuel while keeping the plane lighter. The result? A significant boost in range. Early estimates suggest that the F-47 could offer a 25% to even a 50% increase in range compared to today's F-35. Imagine the strategic advantage of a fighter jet that can fly farther, engage the enemy for longer, and still return home safely without refueling too often. Furthermore, there's talk that the F-47 may be designed with just one engine. Fewer engines mean less weight, which could further enhance its range and agility, while also simplifying maintenance. General Alvin has been very positive about the F-47's progress. He mentioned that multiple experimental demonstrators have already flown over the past 5 years. According to him, the F-47 has reached what he called unprecedented maturity. This statement speaks volumes about how much testing and refinement have already gone into the project. It's not just a concept on paper, it's a real, tangible machine that has been proven in flight tests. In fact, General Alvin revealed that a prototype will take to the skies during President Trump's term, by 2028 at the latest. This timeline is remarkable because it is faster than the development timelines for previous fighter jets like the F-35 or the F-22. However, it is important to note that while the prototype may fly soon, additional years will be needed for thorough testing and refinements. The first serial-produced airframes might not join the Air Force inventory until around 2032, with initial operational capability expected to kick in around 2035. One of the most promising aspects of the F-47 is its cost-effectiveness. The Air Force has quoted the F-47 as being cheaper than the F-22. This lower cost is not just about saving money, it means that the service can afford to buy more of these aircraft. With a larger fleet, the overall program cost is spread out over more jets, lowering the price per unit even further. This approach is similar to why the F-35 is currently cheaper than the F-15EX. In previous years, before a smaller-scale option was considered, programs like ANGAD were described as costing hundreds of millions per jet, with only around 200 units being affordable. The move toward a smaller, more cost-effective fighter like the F-47 shows a significant shift in strategy. It suggests that the future of air combat may not require massive, heavily armed air cruisers, but rather more nimble and advanced aircraft that can work in tandem with drone formations and tanker aircraft. This design philosophy indicates that the F-47 is intended to be a manageable aircraft, likely somewhere between the size of the F-35 and the F-22. Despite its relatively smaller size, the F-47 is set to be much more advanced. Its design, combining reduced weight, enhanced fuel capacity, and advanced stealth, makes it a very appealing option for the future of U.S. air power. The ability to launch alongside a swarm of drones means that this fighter jet can be a force multiplier on the battlefield. In modern warfare, where agility and technological integration are key, having a fleet of these smaller, smarter fighters could prove to be a game changer. It's also worth noting that this shift toward a more compact and efficient fighter was not a last-minute decision. The U.S. has been preparing for this transition for quite some time, possibly even before the alleged pause in the NGAD program during the summer of 2024. In fact, Boeing had already been constructing new facilities in anticipation of these future needs. This proactive approach demonstrates a clear commitment to maintaining a technological edge and ensuring that the U.S. military can adapt quickly to changing threats on the global stage. Following the announcement, companies involved in the NGAD fighter competition are speaking out with clear messages about their visions for the future of U.S. air power. Lockheed Martin, the losing bidder, quickly released a statement to TWZ. They said, "Lockheed Martin continues to work to advance critical technologies to outpace emerging threats and deliver true 21st century security solutions to our nation's military forces. We are committed to advancing the state-of-the-art in air dominance to ensure America has the most revolutionary systems to counter the rapidly evolving threat environment. While disappointed with this outcome, we are confident we delivered a competitive solution. We will await further discussions with the U.S. Air Force." That final line hints at a possible protest against the contract award, showing that the battle is far from over. Engine manufacturer General Electric also joined the conversation with a post on X. Their message expressed their gratitude for the administration's leadership and reaffirmed their commitment to keeping U.S. military air superiority strong for decades to come. GE mentioned how excited they were to see the NGAD program move forward and looked forward to the opportunities it could offer to power the fighters of the future. This sentiment follows recent moves where the Air Force increased contract ceilings with both General Electric and Pratt and Whitney to $3.5 billion. Those funds will support further work on prototype next-generation jet engines under the Next Generation Adaptive Propulsion (NGAP) program, a crucial component to power the NGAD fighter. Although the future of the NGAD combat jet is still taking shape, the NGAP program is poised to have a major impact on other advanced aviation projects as well. Boeing, clearly the big winner in this contest, is making headlines for its clean sheet approach to fighter design. John Ostrower, editor-in-chief of the Air Current, pointed out that this is the first time Boeing has secured a contract for a completely new fighter jet built from scratch. In the past, Boeing's successes in the fighter market were tied to designs inherited from McDonnell Douglas, like the F-15, AV-8B, F/A-18, and EA-18. This victory with the F-47 marks a turning point for Boeing, as it shows the company is ready to innovate without relying on past templates. Their approach with the F-47 leverages decades of aviation expertise, combined with a fresh perspective on modern combat needs. The next phase for the F-47 program, as outlined by the Secretary of the Air Force Public Affairs, will kick off the Engineering and Manufacturing Development, or EMD phase. In this stage, Boeing will focus on maturing, integrating, and testing all components of the fighter. A small number of test aircraft will be built for evaluation, and the contract includes options for low-rate initial production. This means that after the rigorous testing phase, there will be room to gradually increase production, ensuring that the new fighter can be fielded effectively once it meets all performance and safety requirements. Steve Parker, Boeing's interim president and chief executive officer of its Defense, Space and Security Division, issued an official statement that summed up the company's excitement and determination. He said, "We recognize the importance of designing, building, and delivering a sixth-generation fighter capability for the United States Air Force. In preparation for this mission, We made the most significant investment in the history of our defense business, and we are ready to provide the most advanced and innovative NGAD aircraft needed to support the mission. Parker's words underline not just a commitment to winning contracts, but a deep belief in the power of innovation to redefine the future of air combat. As these statements roll in, it's clear that the race for air superiority is not just about one contract or one company. It is a complex competition that involves many players, all driven by the same goal: to keep America's skies safe and to ensure that the U.S. military remains on the cutting edge of technology. The NGAD Fighter Initiative is a perfect example of how collaboration, competition, and innovation come together in the world of defense. While Boeing takes the lead with the F-47, the ongoing efforts by Lockheed Martin, GE, Pratt Whitney, and others are just as critical to shaping the future of air combat. In short, the next steps in the NGAD program are set to bring exciting developments to the forefront of military aviation. With the F-47 entering its EMD phase and vital engine programs moving ahead under NGAP, the stage is set for a dynamic evolution in how the United States defends its airspace. As we watch the F-47 take shape and the future of air combat unfold, one question remains: will Boeing's next-generation fighter truly redefine the skies, or will its rivals find a way to catch up? With tensions between China and the United States growing more intense, America's allies, especially Japan, have been left with no choice but to find ways to defend themselves against future threats. Japan has gone the extra mile, developing aircraft unlike anything ever seen in aerial warfare. Armed with technology so advanced that even European nations are eager to collaborate, Japan is finally stepping up to claim its place among the world's military powers. Could this be the beginning of Japan's military resurgence? What can this next-generation fighter truly do? Join us as we reveal the groundbreaking details of the new bombers Japan has just added to its arsenal. After the Second World War, Japan became very cautious about rebuilding its military, especially its air force, which now appears outdated compared to that of other countries. The memories of Hiroshima and Nagasaki still remind everyone of how terrible war can be. Japan's new constitution, drafted with the help of the United States after the war, took a firm stand against war. In Article 9, Japan relinquished its right to wage war or maintain military forces for aggression, limiting its forces to self-defense purposes only. Japan also made a deal with the United States for protection. American troops, including air forces, stayed in Japan to defend the country. This allowed Japan to rebuild its cities, businesses, and industries without undue concern for war. But as time went on, growing problems with China and fears about North Korea's missiles made Japan change its thinking. China's rapid rise in both economic and military strength began to appear more unfriendly toward Japan. Because Japan supported Taiwan and worked closely with the United States, China hit back with trade bans and boycotts. Behind the scenes, China also used cyber attacks and spying. They broke into Japan's government and business systems, attempting to steal sensitive secrets related to defense and technology. China sent more ships and planes close to Japan's borders. They started doing regular live-fire drills and even launched ballistic missiles near Taiwan, one of Japan's close partners. With danger rising, Japan recognized the need to enhance its air force, rather than relying solely on others, especially since China and Russia are now introducing more advanced fighter jets. In a big move, Japan's leaders have recently agreed on new rules that would enable the country to respond more effectively to threats. Former Prime Minister Fumio Kishida stated that, with missiles becoming faster and more deadly around the world, Japan must strengthen its defense to deter future attacks. This decision also followed the United States' urging of Japan to assume a greater role in containing China's expanding military. This new plan will increase its defense budget to 2% of its economy by 2027, doubling the amount it currently spends. With more money, Japan will buy advanced weapons from the United States like Tomahawk missiles and work on building its top-level fighter jets, super-fast missiles, and armed drones. Initially, Japan sought to acquire the Lockheed Martin F-22 Raptor. However, the United States refused to sell the jet to any other country, thereby keeping its technology safe and leaving Japan at a disadvantage. So Japan made a bold choice. to design and build its sixth-generation fighter jet. It's a challenging project, but if they succeed, Japan could end up producing one of the world's best warplanes and become a major player in the arms market. Between 2009 and 2010, Japan's Ministry of Defense took a deep look into fighter jet technology. From this work came the idea of the I-3 fighter, which stands for Informed, Intelligent, and Instantaneous. This jet was designed to be a stealth fighter capable of detecting and engaging other stealthy planes. It would come equipped with a powerful radar system, smart sensors, and the capability to communicate with external drones and sensor stations during battles. All these features were meant to give Japan a big advantage in controlling the skies around its region. The I-3 fighter could also carry new types of weapons, such as laser guns, known as light-speed weapons, that could instantly destroy incoming threats. As expected, China responded to Japan's plan with harsh words, accusing Japan of fabricating the China threat as a pretext for building more weapons. However, Japan is pushing forward, determined to rely more on itself and defend its territory. To turn their ideas into reality, Japan created a test plane called the Mitsubishi X-2 Shinshin. The X-2 was designed with a look similar to that of modern fifth-generation fighters, such as the Lockheed F-22 Raptor. Its size was comparable to that of the Swedish Saab JAS 39 Gripen. Measuring approximately 14 meters in length with a wingspan of 9 meters, it weighed almost 13 tons and was equipped with strong turbojet engines featuring 3D thrust control, which provided it with remarkable agility and the ability to fly at supersonic speeds. One of the most notable features of the X-2 was its fly-by-optics system. Instead of using traditional cables, it utilizes optical fibers, which enable faster data sharing and better noise handling. Its radar, called the multifunction RF sensor, was built with an active electronically scanned array, known as AESA technology, allowing it to switch across different signals for jamming, communication, and possibly even using microwave weapons. Another notable feature was its self-repairing flight control system. If the plane's flight surfaces got damaged, it could detect the problem and adjust by using the parts that still worked, keeping the jet flying safely. For its test flights, the X-2 used two XF-5 engines. The work was led by Japan's Acquisition Technology and Logistics Agency. They made a small demo plane called the Advanced Technology Demonstrator, or ATDX for short, which flew 34 missions in 2016 and 2017. ATLA also ran 14 other programs focused on building the key components needed for a real stealth fighter, such as improved sensors, faster data links, and concealed weapon bays. The prototype was a big success. Many of the new systems tested on it will likely be used in Japan's future sixth-generation fighter jet. The twin-engine plane had a sleek and smooth shape, standing about 4.51 meters tall. Its cropped delta wings and special extensions allowed it to keep flying safely even at high angles. Two vertical fins at the rear helped improve both its flight capabilities and stealth. It was piloted by a single pilot and featured a retractable tricycle landing gear setup, smooth control surfaces, and two rectangular air intakes positioned adjacent to the cockpit. The special S-duct design also made its airflow smoother and more conducive to speed. After the success of the X-2 project, Japan's Ministry of Defense started working on the Mitsubishi FX in 2020. This new twin-engine stealth fighter is designed for air battles and is planned to be even larger than the F-22, which has earned it the nickname Godzilla. Its large size would give it a longer flight range and the ability to carry a greater number of weapons. It is also designed to have a robust network system and carry more missiles than the F-35. Engineers experimented with various exterior designs using 3D models and specialized computer programs. The primary goals were to make it extremely fast, highly agile, and exceptionally stealthy. To make it lighter and more flexible, the FX would ditch hydraulic systems and utilize electronic components instead. It would also use strong glue molds instead of regular bolts and screws. Two XF-9 engines would power the plane, providing it with more than 20 tons of thrust. These engines would have special 3D thrust nozzles to help them turn more quickly and remain hidden. For its weapons and defense, the FX would feature an advanced mix of sensors to track and engage stealthy enemy planes. It would carry an active electronically scanned radar, a passive radio wave sensor, and an infrared camera. All of these would utilize gallium nitride technology to better detect targets that are normally difficult to see. The new jet would also feature a sophisticated radio system that could jam enemy signals worldwide, enabling it to intercept and counter incoming missiles. Pilots would receive a high-tech helmet equipped with a wide field of view, dual-eye displays, colorful screens, voice control, and 3D sound. The FX's stealth features would include twisted air ducts, hidden weapon bays, materials that absorb radar waves, and new metamaterials to make it even harder to detect. A plasma stealth system would generate short plasma bursts to deflect radar waves, thereby further protecting the plane. Beyond conventional armaments, the FX will be armed with a microwave cannon to disrupt incoming missiles. It will also have the ability to deploy combat support unmanned aircraft drones, serving as loyal wingmen to the fighter. These drones will aid in target identification, munition deployment, and the deflection of incoming missiles. If the FX Godzilla lives up to even a fraction of its potential, it could provide the Japanese armed forces with a formidable warplane surpassing anything in today's skies. Furthermore, it has the potential to propel Japan into the global weapons development market, solidifying its position as a military manufacturing powerhouse. Another important job for the FX Godzilla is to replace Japan's current F-2 fighter jets during the 2030s. It's clear that Japan also draws some ideas from the US regarding the FX's design and functionality. Japan even bought some F-35s to use alongside the FX once it is ready. In 2022, rumors started flying that Japan and the UK might join forces by merging Japan's FX project with the UK's Tempest fighter program. By December 2022, the partnership was officially announced, and Italy joined the team as well. Initially, the UK sought to collaborate with France and Germany through a program called the Future Combat Air System. However, after numerous arguments and delays, the UK ultimately decided to collaborate with Japan and Italy instead. This new collaboration is a significant win for both parties. Japan secures strong partners who can help it sell military planes overseas, an area where it lacks substantial experience and expertise. The UK gets serious partners without the problems it faced before. Together, they aim to develop a powerful sixth-generation stealth fighter that could revolutionize the future of air combat. Big companies were given key tasks. Mitsubishi Heavy Industries from Japan and BAE Systems from the UK are leading the project. BAE is also working on the main body of the jet. Japan's IHI Corporation and Rolls-Royce are building the engines. Italy's Leonardo is responsible for the electronics, while MBDA UK handles the missile systems. After Japan and Britain teamed up, they also began working together on radar systems through a project called Jaguar, an acronym for Japan and Great Britain's Universal Advanced Radar Frequency System. The new fighter will be about 30% bigger than the Eurofighter Typhoon. Its weight without fuel will be close to that of the American F-15 Eagle. The plane will have a sharp delta wing with a 50-degree sweep. The wingspan will be around 54 feet, and the total wing area will be about 12,200 square feet, almost the same as the wing size of an Airbus A320. A model of the new fighter was first shown at the Farnborough Air Show in 2024. It features a trimmed delta wing, which enables it to fly faster, travel farther, and carry more weapons and fuel. However, it may not be as adept at quick turns and sharp maneuvers as Japan's original FX design. British aviation journalist Gareth Jennings pointed out that the GSAP's broad wings look a lot like those of the old American F-111 Aardvark bomber. The F-111 used to fly low to stay hidden from radar, but the GSAP will mainly depend on stealth and long-range missiles to remain safe. This plan is similar to the FB-22, a bomber version of the F-22 Raptor that never entered service. Unlike the FB-22, which was built solely for support, the GCAP is designed to engage other planes and strike ground targets. All three countries working on the GSAP already use F-35B stealth fighters, except the UK, which also flies the F-35A. However, they still sought a jet that could carry more weapons than the F-35 and could be sold to other countries without the stringent restrictions associated with the American F-22 Raptor. Japan also plans to fit the G-SHAP with its high-tech missile systems. These will include the MBDA Meteor, the Spear-3, and the ASM-3, which is a Japanese anti-ship missile. Japan and Britain are also collaborating to develop a new medium-range air-to-air missile, known as the Joint New Air-to-Air Missile. Rumor has it that the JN-8M will feature a radar system manufactured by Japan at the front and a Meteor ramjet engine from Britain at the rear. Still, it may be slower than the Meteor, which can travel at over Mach 4. The JN-8M's top speed is expected to be around Mach 3.5. As for the schedule, the first flight of a Tempest concept demonstrator, a prototype built to test new technology, is planned for 2027. According to the UK Ministry of Defence's Director for Future Combat Air, this test plane will give a strong idea of what the final GEAP fighter will look like. Work on the joint engine demonstrator began in 2024, with the UK investing an initial £30 million in planning, digital design, and innovative construction methods. An additional £200 million from the UK will be allocated toward building a full-size engine for testing. This work will also create many skilled jobs, including at Rolls-Royce's Filton site in Bristol. The first flight of the Tempest is expected to happen in 2035. It will eventually replace the Eurofighter Typhoon in Italy and the UK, as well as the Saab Gripen in Sweden. During its production, they plan to use 3D printing to make parts. Leonardo is also building a new type of radar system for the Tempest. Instead of using a single large radar, this new system will utilize numerous small antennas and mini receivers to collect vast amounts of information from both the sky and the ground. Like other sixth-generation jets, the Tempest is likely to utilize artificial intelligence to control drones, building upon the concept of the loyal wingman. The cockpit will feature augmented reality, making the plane even more advanced. Fast progress and teamwork between countries will be crucial if the Tempest hopes to keep pace with China and Russia, who are also developing powerful new jets. Still, not everyone is pleased about Japan's more ambitious military plans. Kyoji Yanagasawa, a former defense leader, is one of the few who have spoken out. He says that having more potent weapons will not scare away enemies. Instead, he thinks Japan should focus more on talking and making peace to avoid wars. Yanagasawa worries that if Japan builds up its army too much, it could cause more trouble than it solves. He believes that growing the military might deter neighboring countries and make Japan a more attractive target. His view focuses on the difficult choice Japan faces: how to maintain safety without exacerbating tensions with its neighbors. Many experts believe Japan's push to enhance its military capabilities stems from a rapidly changing world. With China growing stronger and North Korea building up its nuclear weapons, Japan feels it might be left exposed. There are also concerns that the United States, Japan's largest ally, may not always be able to fully protect it, especially if problems erupt in different parts of the world simultaneously. The debate over Japan's new defense plans shows the complex situation the country faces as it seeks to strike a balance between peace and security. While many people agree that Japan should be able to defend itself more effectively, others are concerned about potential future developments. If Japan overextends its military, will it truly make the country safer, or will it merely add more tension to East Asia? Yasuo Hasebe, a constitutional law expert at Waseda University, mentioned how hard it is to know if a strike is truly preemptive until after it happens. He also argued that the government could claim that simply possessing these weapons for defense, even if they are never used, still aligns with Japan's peace-focused constitution. Although the law isn't clear on the matter, the government firmly insists that its plan is legal. Hasebe noted that because the government claims it is allowed, questioning it becomes very difficult. Surprisingly, there has been little resistance from Japan's public, media, courts, or opposition parties regarding whether this new military path aligns with the Constitution. The government has also not clearly explained how its actions comply with the law. From the U.S. perspective, Japan's growing military presence can be viewed in two ways. Zach Cooper, a senior fellow at the American Enterprise Institute, notes that Japan is bolstering its weapons and defenses, which the U.S. already supplies through its alliance with Japan. He believes part of the reason is Japan's fear that America might not always be a steady partner. That fear partly comes from the time when President Donald Trump questioned the value of old alliances. Japan's plan also shows that it learned from Ukraine's fight against Russia. Experts believe that when a country demonstrates its commitment to self-defense, its allies are more likely to step in and provide assistance. Japan hopes that by demonstrating its ability to stand up for itself, it will receive even more substantial support, especially from the United States. The Kremlin has finally decided to go head-to-head with the top nations like the United States and China in producing a new stealth bomber that is about to change the game. The concept of war has historically favored the team that dominates the skies, and Russia seems well poised to strike fear into the hearts of potential opponents with its new bomber. How did the world react to the sight of the behemoth? Could Russia be on the verge of triggering another arms race? Join us as we discuss the amazing features of Russia's new stealth bomber. Rumors of Russia's new stealth bomber have taken a stranglehold of worldwide military space since the early 2020s. However, the wait is finally over. It is coming, and it is a monster. Unlike the very first types of Russian bombers, including the Tupolev Tu-95 and the Tupolev Tu-160, which rely on brute lethal force and speed as their greatest features, the new Russian stealth bomber, PAKDA, relies on invisibility as its greatest feature. Just how does anyone fight a bomber they cannot even see? Although rumors of this bomber became prominent in the 2020s, the Kremlin has secretly had it in the works since the late 1990s, when the Russian government decided on a need for a new strategic bomber with different types of technical and tactical requirements compared to its predecessors. Having drawn out a design for the bomber, the Russian Air Force needed to come to a decision about which company should be given the privilege of building the Kremlin's next-generation bomber. After many deliberations, they came to a unanimous decision to have the bomber built by Tupolev Design Bureau in 2007 before the finances were released to fund the project in 2008. However, questions begin to linger about the details of the design, especially after rumors of a possible replication of the Tupolev Tu-160, owing to its ability to travel at supersonic speed. But it was soon debunked by a public address from then Prime Minister Vladimir Putin, who implied that the new bomber would be a completely different design, which was an exciting prospect as well, since the United States and China had just unveiled their B-21 Raider and the H-20 respectively. Although there has been no press release or any form of publication confirming that the new stealth bomber was a direct geopolitical message to the forces of the West, which have consistently flexed their military might, there are theories stemming from Russia that the new bomber was an example of Russia taking the lead in the arms marathon that has silently been afoot since the World War. From Vladimir Putin's interview, it was almost too easy to tell that this was more than just some aircraft. It was a geopolitical weapon with a direct message of mutually assured destruction to the West. While the Raiders and the H-20s have dominated aerial warfare for a long time, owing to their beastly presence in combat, how much of a threat is Russia's new PAKDA bomber? Like General Giulio Douhet once said, "He who controls the air controls everything," and Russia is definitely not oblivious to the fact. Ergo, the deliberation to create a bomber that matches up to the intensity of Raiders and H-20s. The Russian Air Force had quickly figured out that aerial warfare was moving slightly away from speed and creeping towards more intelligence, surveillance, and reconnaissance, or ISR warfare. Hence, they followed suit with the proposal of creating their own stealth bomber, capable of producing both hunter and killer functions. For some context, the Tu-160, manufactured by the same company in charge of the new stealth bomber, was designed to be a hunter mission bomber aircraft. It is a supersonic, variable sweep-wing, nuclear-capable heavy strategic bomber designed for hunter missions. It was commissioned to service in 1987, serving as both a conventional and nuclear bomber, following the requirement of the Soviet Union in 1967. The Tu-160 was designed with the perfect aerodynamic cheat code with the deliberate attachment of a variable geometry wing. The variable geometry wing, or swing wing in popular parlance, was designed to optimize all levels of movement, ranging from takeoff and landing to cruising. For instance, when the wings are in full extension, they give low-speed stability and do not require the regular length of a runway to take off or land. Hence, it makes it easier for the Tu-160 bomber to operate from varied airfields and carry huge payloads. While there is a huge chance that the bomber's aerodynamic wings could be optimized or manipulated to perform hunter missions, its sheer size negates its potential impact on avoiding the A2AD aircraft defense mechanism used by most top nations. Although the swing wings are relevant to attaining low-speed stability, when they are swept back, the aircraft becomes more aerodynamic and can attain and sustain supersonic speed with little to no drags as the aircraft travels at Mach 5. The Tu-160's ability to perform a wide range of missions because of its flexibility has made it a threat to the West and the big players in the Indo-Pacific regions, like China. Its mission flexibility gives it wiggle room to go from subsonic speed to supersonic, making it the best of both worlds, and op countries around the world have struggled to keep up with it. However, that just wasn't enough for the Kremlin. They wanted more, or maybe less, considering the fact that they want the PIKDA to focus on stealth more than speed, and reaching that decision by enforcing the decision that it is only retrofitted with subsonic speed. On September 3, 2009, the Russian Defense Ministry awarded Tupolev Design Bureau a 3-year research and development contract to undertake studies for the new long-range bomber. According to the President General Designer of Tupolev, Igor Shevchuk, this should be a fundamentally new aircraft based on conceptually new solutions. However, for a country with the number of aircraft and bombers that the Kremlin possesses, there is always going to be that one voice who questions the need for more. For some context, on June 12, 2012, then Deputy Prime Minister Dmitry Rogozin questioned the need for a new long-range bomber, pointing out the immense progress that Russia and their archenemy, the West, were making in aerial and anti-missile defense technology, reinforcing his point that spending billions of taxpayers' money on an aircraft when they know the difficulty of breaching these new aerial defenses. Although he had made his point, the Chief of the General Staff, Nikolai Makarov, responded by stating that the Kremlin's intention to put in the work and build this bomber revolves around creating a monster behemoth in the air that is much more superior to the United States. His statement was indirectly backed up by President Vladimir Putin on the 14th of the same month, who hammered on the importance of getting a new long-range bomber regardless of the impact of the Tupolev Tu-160s. By 2013, the PAKDA team had finally reached a decision to focus on the stealth options on the PAKDA, while also giving it a subsonic flying wing. Although there were published articles going against the decision to only add a subsonic flying wing, the rationale behind it was pretty simple. Russia already has bombers capable of subsonic and supersonic speed. Hence, they wanted something different in speed and size, but just flexible enough to perform both hunter and killer missions in a single run. The PAKDA's flying wing is a tailless, fixed-wing aircraft that has no definite fuselage, with its crew, payload, fuel, and equipment housed inside the main wing structure. However, it would have various small protuberances such as pods, nacelles, blisters, booms, or vertical stabilizers. The design gives the aircraft a flat shape while flying at the speed of a regular commercial plane, making it nigh impossible to detect by radar. However, the aircraft is much more potent than the deliberately shunted speed limit on the subsonic level. For a hunter mission, its ability to travel at the same speed as an airplane while having a flat shape, looking almost like a single wing hovering in the skies, gives it the advantage and leverage to get closer to its mark when it needs to perform killer missions. This design struck the perfect balance between stealth missions and killer missions. Although the designs bordered along the lines of perfection, there was one hiccup. How exactly does the flat-back plane hide all of its payload without drag and also be able to deploy hypersonic missiles without getting spotted? The Russian Defense Ministry had designed the flat-back bomber with stealth and killer missions in mind. Ergo, they found ways to integrate the fuselage and other parts of the aircraft into the flying wing, drawing inspiration from the single-bay design of the American B-2 Spurt, their direct competitor. But how does a subsonic flying wing aircraft carry and unleash a payload of hypersonic weapons and hit its target? The rationale was rather simple. Since the missions were flexible, meaning that the aircraft could be on a double mission in one run, hunting and killing its targets. The payloads are tucked neatly in the aircraft's body, making it impossible to spot even with A-2AD aerial defenses. While the plane flies at subsonic speed and gets closer to its mark, the bay opens, and the hypersonic missile is dropped on its target. However, the missile isn't fired from the aircraft. Instead, it is released at normal speed. Then the engine on the missile sets it up to go faster than Mach 5 and explodes on impact. The aircraft was designed to carry payloads the size of the Kh-47M2. The Kh-47M2 is a Russian air-launched ballistic missile with an estimated range of 460 to 480 kilometers and a reported top speed of Mach 10, which is twice the speed of sound. It can carry either conventional or nuclear warhead and can be launched by two 22M3 bombers, MiG-31K interceptors, modified Su-34 fighter bomber, and very soon the PAK-DA. Even before the advent of the PAK-DA, the Kh-47M2 had already been deployed on numerous war missions by the Russian Air Force. However, its most recent deployment has taken the most sting out of the West in the ongoing war between Russia and Ukraine. The United States has openly supported Ukraine and given them war support to keep them in a fight with Russia, who apparently has the stronger military and better military weapons on land, air, and the seas. However, during the Biden-Harris administration, President Joe Biden, in March 2022, confirmed that Russia deployed hypersonic missiles in Ukraine, which he described as almost impossible to stop. The message was clear. Russia has a missile that is nigh untrackable, making them even more dangerous than they were. And this time, they are in the process of manufacturing a flying-wing subsonic bomber that easily escapes the radar and is capable of carrying the Kh-47M2. This perfectly balanced bomber was more than just technology. It was a message well received from Russia to the rest of the world. However, it wasn't until April 2014 that the head of Russia's United Aircraft Corporation, otherwise called UAC, Mikhail Pogosyan, announced that the Tupolev Design Bureau had finalized the design and that the project was moving to the intermediate phase, signaling the completion of the design and construction of a prototype. And that was Russia's first hiccup. The Russian Defense Ministry demanded 5 billion Russian rubles to prepare the Kazan Aircraft Production Association plant in Kazan. As expected, the old voices of reason, who believed that the country already had enough long-range bombers, were back asking the same questions. However, the Kremlin responded by releasing the requested 5 billion Russian rubles, which were allocated to reconstructing and re-equipping the Kazan Aircraft Production Association plant in Kazan. While it was widely reported in Russia that the first full-size model of the bomber was built, amongst various scale mock-ups of different configurations on March 1, 2017, it wasn't released openly, hence the public only had verbal knowledge of the aircraft. It wasn't long before doubt had started to set in, with rumors of PAK-DA being a ruse, making the rounds. However, in July 2018, the United Engine Corporation, otherwise called the UEC, and Tupolev, the company that was commissioned with the responsibility of building the PAK-DA, revealed that they had just signed a contract for the creation of the bomber's power plant. However, questions lingered on how they decided to create the power plant. Was it going to be some new groundbreaking idea, or was it going to come from an already established engine? Soon there were released reports that suggest a possible upgrade from the Kuznetsov NK-32 engine. In the same year, the Kremlin reportedly allocated 8 billion Russian rubles for the development of this new engine, which was contracted to JSC Kuznetsov in Samara. Although the specifications of the engine have been a well-guarded secret, its potential performances have been heavily publicized. The engine is rumored to provide the PAK-DA with the required force to perform a 30-hour non-stop mission without having to refuel. But it gets even better, as it also comes with a temperature-resistant feature, protecting it from the effects of a nuclear explosion, and a service life between 12 to 21 years. While the engines remained in construction, the PAK-DA's final draft was finally approved, and the construction in the plant began in late 2019. Although Tupolev kept the construction process away from the media, Russia's state-owned news agency, the TASS, reported on May 26, 2020, that the very first PAKDA, which will be the finished article, was already in construction and will be finished in early 2023. Although Tupolev were the leading constructors, they had help from companies like NPP's Vesta, which announced at the 2021 Max Air Show that his company was in the process of completing the construction of the PAKDA's ejection seats and hoped to hand them over to Tupolev in 2023, the proposed date for the first sighting of the massive aircraft. While speculations of the KH-47M2 being the main hypersonic weapon to be fitted into the PAKDA's weapons bay had consistently made the rounds on the internet, on August 2021, it was announced that a new long-range, nuclear-capable hypersonic cruise missile, the KH-95, was under development to be fitted inside the PAKDA's weapon bay. Although the Kremlin has earmarked aerial warfare dominance, specifically over the United States, as the reason for funding the creation of the PAKDA, there is growing evidence that the possible integration of a hypersonic missile carrying a nuclear warhead might be an overkill, but is capable of changing aerial warfare forever. Could Russia finally take the giant leap over the United States and China, who have recently been at the top of the food chain in aerial combat? Could the creation of the PAKDA spark a new global arms race? While the world holds its breath in grievous anticipation of Russia's release of the PAKDA, the United States and China have decided to raise the stakes even further, especially the United States, who are now looking to upgrade their long-range bombers. But just how does their Northrop Grumman B-21 Raider fare, in contrast with the PAKDA? America developed its Long-Range Strike Bomber, or LSB program in 2011, with only one goal in mind: aerial dominance. Over the years, aerial warfare has hit a fever pitch, and there is no bringing it down. Hence the hot pursuit of top countries who are looking to not only get in on the action, but be at the very top of the food chain. Hence America's decision to come up with the B-21 Raider. The Raider is proposed to be a stealth intercontinental strategic bomber that can deliver conventional and thermonuclear weapons. Named Raider in honor of the Doolittle Raiders of the Second World War, the B-21 is meant to replace the Rockwell B-1 Lancer and Northrop B-2 Spirit by 2040, and possibly the Boeing B-52 Stratofortress after that. Although, just like the PAKDA, the B-21 Raider has been touted for a release in 2023, especially since the first flight of the Raider already occurred on November 10, 2023, and 3 of them, which were considered airworthy, were involved in program testing in September 2024. However, neither nation has fully released their new bombers. Although there are reports of technical delays, like with the PAKDA, where the sanctions following the Kremlin's invasion of Ukraine, starting the Russo-Ukrainian War in 2022, have been rumored to halt their momentum, and the B-21 Raider has been touted to be undergoing early-stage flight testing, there are other geopolitical rumors that have effortlessly made the rounds in the media. For some context, there are speculations that both countries are in the middle of a game of chicken, seeing who blinks first, with hopes that the first release is assessed by the other country, who then upgrades theirs to remain on top of the food chain. Although the speculations seem to have stuck because neither nation has presented their aircraft in the timeline that they proposed, Russia has come flying out of the gates in a rush to defend their position. Russian Deputy Prime Minister Denis Manturov has openly discussed the common struggles with schedules around the world, but he assures Russia and the entire world that the sanctions following the 2022 Russian invasion of Ukraine would not affect the timing of the creation of the PAKDA, as the bomber does not contain any foreign components. Although he made these bold claims in 2022, promising that the aircraft would be completed by 2026, with a prototype ready by 2023, as of June 2025, there are still no reports of a prototype. While the world waits for this new stealth subsonic behemoth bomber capable of hosting and launching hypersonic missiles with nuclear warheads, the potential reaction of other top countries remains to be seen, as aerial warfare might change forever. Thanks for watching. While you are still here, click on the link on your screen to check out another of our videos. See you there.